Oh, hey! Fancy seeing you here. That's right. It's another region, another evening of Belong.gg Arena Clash, and we are coming at you live with the Challenger Finals. We have got Claymore versus Spartans coming up. Both of these teams doing incredibly well all the way through the tournament, as you can see from the bottom half of the screen. I'm being Hungry Phil, and this is Vowels.
Hello.
How are you doing, Vowels?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. Looking forward to some Challenger Finals?
Yeah, I feel like the Challenger series is a little bit underappreciated compared to the Championship we broadcast every week. These teams aren't like too far below. There's still some great quality players, great quality Overwatch to be seen here. So I'm excited to see what the Spartans and Claymores are going to be able to give us in this finals.
Yeah, so I was looking at our team sheets and going through this and going, these guys could probably do quite well as a team in the Champions series.
Absolutely.
So these guys don't think of them as a step below. They're just the guys that there wasn't any space for on the Champions level roster. But here's who we have got playing today. So players to look out for. Anybody in particular stand out for you there, Vowels?
I'm looking at the Claymores here actually, and Rory, I believe he goes by the in-game name of Flame, is going to be a standout player here, playing that flex DPS, maybe tend toward the Reaper occasionally, but the McCree, the Genji, the more reliable picks, certainly someone to watch out for the Claymores.
And, of course, those of you that have watched some of our Champions level coverage will recognise one of the names on the side of Spartans. It is Ice Phoenix, Mercy Supreme, so watch out for some antics for Ice Phoenix in the map coming up. But yeah, two very evenly matched teams. If you just look at the raw SR value average for the two teams, it's within, I think, less than 100 SR of each other, so this could be one that goes the distance. We could see a map 5 here.
I mean, for the Spartans in particular, we talk about how these aren't necessarily bad players, they're just the ones that couldn't quite make it onto the top team.
Yeah.
And knowing what the championship team is like for the Spartans, not being able to make it onto that team, you're probably still playing at a championship level.
It staggers me because all of these teams are sort of co-located geographically, they're all from roughly the same region. It amazes me just how much talent seems to be pooled around this one area.
It's because everyone lives in London.
Oh, of course, yeah. There we go. Now we know. There's just such a big pool to pick from, but still, should be a very, very good match. We will, of course, be starting with, there we go, as I say, coming up on screen, Lijiang Tower starting off in Control Center. This is we don't often see this angle of Control Center. I like that. Nice and symmetrical. You don't get to see that often.
Yeah, you can also see the mirror. Nice coordination, the mirror parking for the ships over in the background.
Yeah.
Imagine that would have been a little bit of a pain to line up if they were trying to pull in at the same time. You go first. But
yeah. You got to wonder why these two teams that are playing against each other have come in like matching ships. It just seems a bit weird to me.
It's because it's all a battle royale for the rich.
I see. There we go. Well,
yes.
That's something I didn't know. Something you learn every day. Watching Overwatch.
So, coming into game, we are looking at two variations of the Free Goats compositions. It looks like Flame was briefly highlighting the Doomfist, would have been exciting to watch, but it's going to be two variations of the Snoats, if you will, these May Goats compositions, trying to throw out those walls, lock down some of the narrow chokes and the geometry on this point. It'll be interesting to see Flame and Ice Phoenix. Ice Phoenix actually playing DPS, so a little bit of an off-roll for him.
Yeah, QE takes a little bit of early damage there. Charge coming in, not managing to find anything with it. Dub there, getting a quick right-click there, taking QGE out of the fight. This Claymore's taking early advantage. I like that wall from Ice Phoenix, has allowed them to back off and reset. Nice disengage coming out from Spartans.
Yeah, nice early charge from Attitude, and the Spartans not really able to punish it, unfortunately, and that's going to mean the Claymores that do have early point control. They can start setting the pace, and they're going to start playing aggressively here.
Yeah. Whoa, two walls blocking two people off there. We did lose Mamma Mia too in that exchange. Claymores are going to have to back off, play a little bit more defensively because they are outmanned there, and charge taken out there by the shield bash from Taurus, falling down straight away after that. And in this fight, it does seem like we are just about stabilizing the Claymores. They came into this a man down, but with some quick work from Flame on the main pick, actually in a position to stabilize. Ice Phoenix in a little bit of a dangerous position there, going to get caught out. No escape for you. Up goes the wall, in comes the icicle, and that is going to be another hold for Claymores.
Maybe a little bit of revenge kill. And Mamma Mia at the very end there, unfortunately at the start of the fight, got caught out by Ice Phoenix's wall, gets through a revenge kill to finish it off, and it's good work from the Claymores, you're right, to rally back. After having the early disadvantage, they start turning the fight around.
Yeah, Alfred did fall very low for a second there, received the armor pack from Source. That's currently off cooldown. Nice big charge coming in. Good reaction there from QG, came right in with a counter charge, and we've got everything coming in. That is the Transcendence and the Blizzard coming out from Spartans and Claymores respectively. Nothing really coming out of that, and that is Ultimates stacked again on top of each other. Transcendence coming out from Duck. Sound Barrier from Condole. Here's a nice big shatter coming in, but again, too much healing on the field. Nothing happens. Nothing has happened after all the ultimates. Then we got finally the first kill of this exchange. Remember, the 2 going down. Attitude with a quick equalizer, but that is the key one. Attitude 13 going down early in the fight means that there is no main tank left alive for Claymores. Spartans need to push in now if they're going to get anything done, and this is exactly what we're seeing. Onimusha has the Graviton ready to go. No targets there just yet, and this is dangerous for Flame. Has used that wall to get out, but they don't want to give it this point just yet. I like that Graviton from Onimusha, keeping everybody off the point, getting in there, using that right-click melee combo to do... Oh no, right in the middle of the action, we get a pause. We're going to take a second to figure out exactly why that is, but I feel very broken off in the middle of my flow there.
It happens to the best of us. I do just want to highlight a nice little play by Ice Phoenix on the May at the start of the fight. When the Blizzard Graviton combo comes through, I'd normally advise against using any kind of support ultimate to negate it, because neither of them really last as long. That's when that combo comes out, you'd kind of just think, okay, go next fight. But Ice Phoenix had a crucial wall that actually blocked off a lot of the damage coming through from the Claymores, meant that they could survive with the Transcendence. By the time the wall came down, everyone was unfrozen and out of the Graviton, and they can start turning the fight around. So, a little bit of a smart play by Ice Phoenix.
Yeah, May is one of these heroes that I think maybe doesn't always get the credit they deserve, because there is so much you can do tactically with her kit, more than just, you know, freezing people and stalling out the point at the end of a 2CP map.
It's because May is very situational. Yeah. There aren't too many situations where running her is actually great. You aren't going to get much success running May on Gardens, here on Lijiang, for example, but somewhere where you have these narrow chokes, where it's a bit more indoors, where you don't have as much space to maneuver, like Command Center, May definitely can flourish. And so a May player who is smart with their wall usage, smart with their ice block usage, knows how to control the space around the point, can dictate fights.
Yeah, and it's another character that you talk about characters like Reinhardt and Winston in particular needing a good understanding of space and of corners and of where the chokes are. May is another character where if you have that in your skill set, then you're in a very good position to utilize that experience to place those May walls, because I think it's a thing we've commented on a number of times. A lot of these chokes are exactly the same size as a May wall. It's a hell of a coincidence.
Almost by design.
Almost. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Reinhardt's, just to move it on a bit, someone that's already started catching my eye is Attitude. Certainly plays Reinhardt with an attitude, charging in very aggressively at the start of a lot of these fights. That's going to be key for the Spartans, trying to punch some of that aggression coming through from the main tank.
Yeah, we are back in the game now, and that was probably a fairly lucky place to have a pause. Spartans had just taken that fight fairly convincingly. We're not seeing anybody disadvantaged. That's a good early pick, though. Duck right from downtown, taking Alvarez out of the fight, using the May wall there from Ice Phoenix, keeping the team out for as long as possible. Is that going to be enough for Alvarez to get back in? Because they're only 8% of the way away from having this Transcendence to keep the team alive. QGE in danger of getting frozen there, gets moved out of the way. Shatter coming in. Unfortunately, looks like it only caught Flame in that exchange. Not really anything coming out of that. We've got another Blizzard online, and that's going to see kills start to come in for Claymores on the back of that dueling Transcendences, but it's just not going to be enough for Alvarez. They did manage to get back into the fight. By the time they were there were kills on the board for Claymores, and this is really just a case of clearing up now and getting this fight out of the way. Jive Turkey, clearing that up with a 2 at the end there.
Yeah, great work from Duck, getting the initial pick, having the crucial Transcendence just to keep Claymores alive, and now it's going to be last fight territory. Spartans, they need to try and find a way in, touch the point, but the charge is coming through, and the wall is blocking them off. I'm not sure the Spartans are actually going to be able to touch it.
No, especially with the nice block there from Onimusha. It's unfortunate, it wasn't really enough to get anything done, but still good presence of mind to cancel out that celebratory Earth Shadow at the end of the fight. Yeah.
It was great awareness by Claymores coming into that final fight, knowing that they only needed to win one more fight. There was only 10% left on the point, so the Spartans wouldn't really have an opportunity to contest. So they just kind of throw in the kitchen sink. They invested the Blizzard, the Graviton, and the Transcendence just to keep everyone alive. It's really hard for the Spartans to actually push through it, and it's pretty simple. They take the point.
Yeah, so it looks like we are lining up. This seems to me like... No, there we go. A few last-minute changes for Claymores. Spartans coming out on the tried and true Zenyatta variant of Goats. Claymores looking like they're opting for the mirror here also.
Yeah, Claymores were briefly showing a little bit of a spicy look. You bring out the Farah Ash dive, but opting here on Night Market, going for the more safe Goats approach, and it is just going to be another nice mirror matchup here.
Yeah, this is a nice opportunity to really get the measure of these two teams coming in on the footing. And this back alley approach coming out for Spartans means that they are in danger of getting stuffed into this choke as the damage starts to come in for Claymores, but they lose Flame early in the fight. QGE falling for Spartans is maybe very good, but now no Reinhardt's alive for either team, so this is going to be down to just who can get kills the quickest. When we see the D-Mech Mamma Mia coming down goes Leaky, and this is going to be Spartans just in clear-up phase, managing to take first control of the point.
Very interesting rotation from Spartans at the start of the fight there. I'd normally advise against taking that coastal route, because if the other team quickly
is a thing.
Yeah, because Lucio is a thing. If the other team quickly catches on to what you're doing, they can group you off or even just stuff you in that joke approaching the point. Unfortunately, Spartans a little bit slow to react. A little bit slow to react. Spartans do get the initial point contested. Now it's time to build up results. Claymores need to try and push through here.
Yeah, interesting that Attitude does have more ult charge on the board than QGE. Means that maybe getting in and doing a bit more work. High charge here for Oni Marisha. Attitude coming in big with a couple of kills at the end there. Flame with the follow-up taking out their opposite number. And wow, that was just a tidal wave of brutality. Claymores completely smashing Spartans off the point.
Yeah, Spartans unfortunately split themselves under defense. Claymores recognised that there's 3 players out of position that they can quickly collapse onto, and they take the point pretty efficiently. Duck maybe wants to take that Transcendence back, but they've still got an ultimate advantage coming into this next fight.
Yeah, they've at least got something to react to an incoming offensive ultimate, which is not a terrible place to be. And they're taking a nice aggressive positioning here. Diva Bomb coming in, self-destruct landing, does manage to find Jive Turkey, which means that there is currently no ultimate on board. But it doesn't matter when you don't need a defensive ultimate. When Mamma Mia has a 3-person self-destruct, it also gets the D-Mech there. So that could have gone a lot worse for Claymores. That was maybe a little bit of a clutch self-destruct for Mamma Mia too. Yeah, QG had fallen, only Nusha had used the bubbles. There was no hope for the Spartans to try and block that self-destruct. Beautiful from Mamma Mia. Unfortunately, Claymores investing all the ultimates they had going into that fight, so now Spartans with the impetus of both support elements and that Earth Shadow online. Yeah, but that puts them in a position here where they may have to use both of these ultimates. Oh, cancelled out of the Earth Shadow. Huge presence of mind there from Flame with the shield bash taking them down. Now we've got the Transcendence committed into the fight. Alpha Rat's keeping his team alive through some of this incoming damage, but that is now 2 ultimates and nothing really to show for it. Attitude falls at the end of that. Here comes the sound barrier. They're going to use that as the signal to go and start piling onto the remnants of Claymores, and here kills coming in, but Leaky coming in clutch with a big Graviton Surge at the end there, has managed to get the kill onto Ice Phoenix at the end there, so it looked terrible for Claymores there. Spartans just cannot catch a break here.
Yeah, great work from the Claymores to start turning that around, investing that Graph Bomb combo and managing to pull it off. Spartans, QG has built up another Earth Shadow, but it's approaching last fight territory. If they want to stay in the fight on Lijiang, they need to win this next fight and cap the point.
Yeah, they really do. And I think part of the problem here is Leaky has not died. Earth Shadow comes in, only finds Mamma Mia 2 on the Diva. Is there enough damage there to D-Mech? Sadly not. QGE falling in the exchange, and really that's all they wrote for this map. Oh, it's a cheeky little bit of a back cap, maybe not going to quite succeed there. Just a Lucio on the point against 5 of the players. Do you know what? It's a brave effort, and does manage to get the kill there onto Mamma Mia too, so not terrible. Oh, and just coming back in on the wrecking ball, sadly, Earth shattered as they hit the point and immediately taken out of the fight. But, you know, you've got to love that spirit from Spartans. Conroe
Pilgrim versus the world. Unfortunately, the 6 evil Claymores win that fight, and it's going to be Lijiang heading over to the Claymores. Now, that's very interesting. Spartans kind of tucked it as favourites coming into this matchup, so a nice initial map win from the Claymores. Control may be one of the maps where it's a little bit more even. The underdog has the opportunity to win if they get the first fight, which we saw Claymores getting both times. It'll be very interesting to see how this continues here. We're going to be moving on to Escort as our next map type, and it will be the loser's choice between Route 66 and Dorado.
Yeah. So I think one of the problems coming into a map like this is you maybe don't have a lot of experience of playing against your opponent, because either you've been in the other groups, and then you've not managed to play, or you definitely haven't played each other during playoffs here, and so you have very little information about what your team or your opponents are going to do. So this is where we see teams do a little bit of scouting. Yes, they can take the loss here, but they come into the next map with a much better understanding of how their opponents work. So we're not going to count anyone out of this map just yet, because we could still go the distance to map 5. I fully believe that for these teams.
Of course, challenges not broadcast. It's not like these teams have any footage to work on. Maybe there's a little bit of hearsay coming through all the various channels about what the opposition likes to run, but maybe they've scrimmed together a couple of weeks ago, but once you start approaching playoffs, you see the other side of the bracket, you know who the favourites are, you kind of stay away from, if we're going to play them, we don't want to scrim down, we don't want to show our stuff. So, yeah, maybe the team's just kind of getting a measure each other the first map. We saw fairly vanilla compositions. The Goats mirror on Night Market, the May Goats mirror on Control Center. Maybe now, moving on to our escort map, things might start getting a little bit spicier.
Yeah. So, okay, Vals, you're a coach as well as a caster. What is it in the mirror matchup? What puts one team at an advantage over another? What's the one thing our viewers should be watching as to why Team A is better than Team B in a given matchup?
A lot of the mirror matchup is about punishing out of position players. So Brigitte is a great example. If a Brigitte, unfortunately, does have a large amount of healing with her Inspire and obviously has those crowd control abilities to give her a little bit more protectability, but only has 200 HP. If you can catch a Brigitte overextending past a Reinhardt shield a little bit, trying to go for a cheeky shield blast or whip shot, if she's kind of going on a solo adventure trying to punish a squishy in the backline and you can collapse onto her, that's a great early pick. It's all about getting a feel. It's almost like a little bit of a dance, but in the Goat's mirror, trying to catch the other person out of position, make them waste their cooldowns, and then quickly capitalize on top of that before they have a chance to get those cooldowns back online, start to retreat. It's a game of inches a lot of the time in these mirror matchups. It comes down to one person making one mistake, gets punished and killed, and then it starts snowballing from there.
Yeah, and once you have made that mistake, the way that the ultimate charge and the ultimate economy works in these Goats matchup means that if you give up that initial tick, if you give up initial point possession, then that can just be the game over and done with there. You've got to be very, very good, very disciplined to come back once you've already lost the point.
Absolutely. So, looking at our next map, it's going to be Route 66 or Dorado. Neither of these maps are maps we see too much of the Goats composition on. Dorado, it's a little bit friendlier, especially through second and third point, but on first we see a lot of the DPS compositions. Ashe and Widow in particular have been staples of Dorado over the course of the Arena Clash series so far. Route 66, it's a little more interesting, particularly on first point. We see a large variety of both offenses and defense. Teams opting for those quad DPS, triple DPS in particular. Definitely a very interesting look.
Yeah, and I think that's probably got a lot to do with the fact that certainly point 1 on Route 66 is comparatively very open. There's a lot of space that doesn't have, let's compare it directly to Dorado. Dorado is the entire way through you are flanked by buildings, and we are in fact going to be going to Dorado. That's probably the map I would have picked as well. It's
it's a very visually appealing map.
It is. It's beautiful, really.
It's maybe a little bit dark, but lots of nice blues, little splashes of yellow and red. Get all your primary colours dotted in there.
Yeah, it's got a nice sort of blue-orange balance. Yeah. But let's not go too deep into colour theory here, but let's just thank our observers for their beautiful framing of this initial shot. As we start the map, we are going to be coming in with, do you know what, Vals, for all the time I've spent playing and casting Overwatch, I come to this screen and I look at red and blue and I can never remember who starts where. I can get it now because they're on screen, but here we go. We're going to start with Claymores attacking, Spartans on defense.
Yeah. It's very interesting for me for the Claymores that Spartans, losing the last map, had their choice of map, and then Claymores have the opportunity to choose if they would like to attack or defend. Very interesting for me that they've chosen to attack first. Normally we see teams who feel like they have the upper hand choosing to defend first, so they know exactly what they need to reach on their own defense. Claymores wanting to set the pace themselves, wanting to go for that full completion, and dare Spartans to match them.
Yeah. So this is a really interesting defense from Spartans, opting for the Ashe Doomfist 2-2-2 combo. So watch for Onimusha basically playing on their own for a lot of this fight.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Leaky, on the Ana, staying out of harm's way of both the Ashe and the Doomfist, utilising that sleep dart in particular to shut down Onimusha.
Yeah, Flame coming out on the Pharah finds an early pick, and that's a terrible first pick because you've now lost a lot of your offense to take Flame out of the fight. That means that this Pharmacy duo is going to be pretty uncontested. Onimusha falling very, very low, receives the anti-healing grenade as well. Flame catching themselves a little bit with the rocket there in that fight. Playing very low to the ground here, just trying to spam as much damage as they can through the choke. But this high ground pressure seems to be working for them. 30% of the way to the ultimate already. Has found a squishy looking target as the Doomfist gets into the middle of the fight and into range of those fire rockets. I cannot believe how in the middle of the fight Flame is playing. Attitude takes Ventus out of the fight. That's going to be a nice little opening gambit. There's the follow-up. Conroliger falling down shortly after, and Flame almost all the way to this ultimate, using that concussive blast to get in the chase. He's looking for kills, wants to find as many people as he can. He's found the Ana with no healing available. Nice approach there, and there's the Doomfist. Flame on an absolute tear. There comes the barrage, not able to survive through it. In fact, not even getting anything out of that. QGE taking them out of the fight, but it doesn't matter because it opened up. Mamma Mia 2 coming in, taking QGE out of the fight, and they have capped point 1 in pretty spectacular fashion, frankly.
Yeah, Claymores just rolling on through. It's very interesting to me that both the teams have actually made substitutions coming into this matchup. Ventus picking up that Reinhardt for the Spartans, looking to maybe provide a little bit more of an even matchup against Attitude. Claymores bringing in Skyer over Jive Turkey, already bringing out the Wrecking Ball. Very interesting look here.
Yeah, this sort of triple tank with a Wrecking Ball is not a thing we see often, but that's, again, a nice early pick, and there's the second. Attitude, Mamma Mia down out of the fight. There is now just Skyer on the Wrecking Ball, left for the tank line up. Nice dive from Onimusha coming in, has managed to take Leaky out of the fight. This is where we're going to see Spartans start to stabilise. It's a shame that it took them all the way past point 1 to do it, but this is a very good position to be in, especially when you look at ults on the board.
Yeah, Onimusha, great initial pick, and I don't think there's any hero in the game with the same amount of pick potential as it is Doomfist. If you can utilise those cooldowns, get a nice couple rocket punches, use the uppercut and seismic slam to get in and out effectively, Onimusha was showing good mastery of the hero here on second point.
Yeah, so that's the minefield on the point now. Onimusha clearly has a tool to get rid of those mines if they really care for it, but looks like they don't need that. So still holding on to that. Nano Boost coming out, haven't quite seen where that's gone. Nothing coming out of the Meteor Strike, using it to try and get in on the Mercy. Not managed to find the Mercy because Quick getting in there with the res. Ice Phoenix does have Bob on board if things start to go a little bit south, but they've forced Claymores to back off for now, so Spartans continue to hold.
Yeah, Spartans investing a couple ultimates there, the Nano Boost and the Earth Shadow in particular, but still have the Graviton online. Be interesting to see what they try and combo with. Maybe throw a nice meaty Ash Dynamite into there, maybe throw the Bob in as well. Claymores have their own Graviton on offense, so watch out for the War of Desires here.
Yeah, interesting that only one team has a properly defensive ultimate online ready to go, so Conrolia has that sound barrier ready to go if they decide to use it, and there we go. Out does manage to keep everybody in the team up. Need to get some healing in on top of that to survive once the sound barrier dissipates. But whilst that's all going on, Spartans managing to get the kills they need to keep this from moving forward. Duck does bring Leaky back into the fight, but this is actually kind of a dangerous position when you've got a Doomfist that can get in like that and find that kill, because it ends up in big staggers like that. Nice play from Onimusha, getting that in. Are we going to see the end to the Wrecking Ball as well? No, Wrecking Ball manages to just get out, and Onimusha comes out of that with another ultimate.
Yeah, and we're seeing Duck moving over to Lucio now after Mercy. This is a change that I do like. The Mercy Ana setup, although it does give you a lot of healing, you don't really have the utility. You don't have a Discord Orb to try and pressure someone like the Doomfist or an aggressive Reinhardt. You don't have the ability to kite away from those heroes. You're kind of just like sitting ducks. That healing can only do so much against the insane burst damage coming through from a Doomfist, so I do like this mix-up. Means Flame probably going to switch off after he uses Overwatch.
Yeah, Ice Phoenix took a bit of damage there, but getting helped out heavily by their team. Flame manages to find one with that ultimate, but doesn't survive through it as the trades come in. Onimusha taking Leaky out of the fight with a follow-up. Mamma Mia going down as well. And despite the fact that it did not look to be paying off on point 1, this Doomfist pick for Onimusha is really starting to pay dividends. QGE with the high charge. The longer you leave your Zarya alive, the more dangerous she is in the next fight. Coming in with 90% of the charge still there, ready to go in this next fight.
Leaky maybe wants to blame Attitude a little bit there. Had a nice sleep onto Onimusha, but was waken up by the Reinhardt. Onimusha immediately cleaning up the fight with 2 picks straight after. So now we're going to see Flame moving over to the McCree off that Farah. Like I said, just investing the barrage and making the switch. Going to be very important utilising the flashbang here to try and shut down some of this aggression from Onimusha.
Yeah, but I mean, good timing from Onimusha. Can see this, frankly, just give them more targets to dive. If they can time and bait out the flashbang, then, ooh, I like this. Flame, what are you doing here? Oh, beautiful! Talk about baiting out a flash. How about just baiting out the entire Doomfist, coming in behind him, getting that flashbang, fan the hammer kill that we love to see. Attitude manages to take Ventus down very, very low, but Conroller there with the sound barrier keep them alive. Shatter coming in, not able to find anything. Will the charge follow up? No, it's not going to be enough. QGE had too much charge available. They weren't able to get the kills they needed. QGE, Ventus doing big things in the kill feed, have pushed back Claymores when it looked like Claymores had the openings that they needed. They just couldn't find anything more to do.
So unfortunate with for Attitude there, goes for the huge shatter, but there's no follow-up, and it just exposes the rest of his team to getting counter-shattered. Ventus, with a little bit of better cleanup, unfortunately Attitude's charge target had the personal bubble to keep themselves alive, and now, coming down to 25 seconds, it's going to be last fight territory. Leaky moving over to the Moira here, a little bit more mobility to stay away from Onimusha, who has the Meteor Strike.
Yeah, we could be looking at a Space Jam any minute now. That Graviton Surge Meteor Strike combo, it's a personal favourite. I played both of those characters, and you love to see that combo coming out. But Onimusha, deep in enemy territory, has to use it to get out. Are they going to use it for anything constructive, or just to get back with their team? Yeah, just to get back out with their team. OGE still... Oh, a 2-kill from Amir is going to open this fight right up. Flame in the back, manages to find one. QGE going out of the fight. Ice Phoenix finally using that Bob Ultimate getting taken right out of the fight. And just when we thought they were rolled and smoked, Claymores coming right back into this fight. Spartans, if they're quick, have one more recontest, but it's got to be so quick.
Not all hope is lost. Both these tank ultimates are online, plus Alpha Rats is coming up on that nano boost, but it needs to be quick. Flame and Mamma Mia are waiting. Onimusha comes from the back to try and contest.
Yeah, it manages to get the overtime wick or the recontest wick just in effect, but it's not going to be enough. Flame is doing too much with McCree, such a threat with that Fan the Hammer. Here comes the nano boost onto Ventus, and it's going to be swing for the fence this time as they come in looking to get, well, frankly, counterpinned by Attitude, and as the dust settles, Claymores do manage to cap point 2. You've got to be feeling pretty bad if you're Spartans now when you were thinking how well they were holding on point 2.
Spartans do have a couple more ultimates. They did hold on to the Graviton because QG died so early, and that's coming online with this Dragon Strike that Ice Phoenix built up over the course of one fight. Onimusha gets punished immediately by his counter in Flame, and that's going to blow us wide open. Spartans, unfortunately, only looking at one more defensive fight here.
Yeah, and of course, Claymores have a sound barrier online, so the Graviton Dragon Strike combo is not going to be that effective unless Duck dies first in the fight. Flame coming for this flank. There's the Graviton Surge and the sound barrier that we were expecting. Dragon Strike coming in over the top, hasn't found a kill, but we have seen an exchange here. Flame and QGE both going down in that fight. Earth Shatter connects, manages to put 4 on the ground. Are we going to see the clear up? No, instead, trades coming back and forth. Claymores looking like they may still have the upper hand here, but Ice Phoenix relatively uncontested. I shouldn't say it because Mamma Mia comes smashing in with a melee kill, taking them out of the fight. Still looks like we may, because of the way that the respawns are coming in, is looking increasingly good for Spartans in this fight. They've only got 10 seconds left before they hit overtime. Flame in the back, manages to find one, and an important one. Lucio off the field, nice stun, stops that charge coming in from the Reinhardt, gets a nice bit of damage in over the top. Mamma Mia falling very, very low here, receives the Flame Strike to the face, and there we go, there's the D-Mech, and we've got another High Noon here coming in from Onimusha and finds 2! I thought that was going to go all into the shield, but we need the follow-up now, and there's a minefield right on the point, and it's going to stop Ice Phoenix getting in any closer, and another nano boost comes in. Ventus again swinging away with the hammer, but everyone is doing such a good job of keeping out of the way. Fire Strike taking Duck, and that is going to be it. Finally, Spartans managed to stop Claymores just a few meters shy of the point.
Ventus had a crucial charge there. Take Attitude down, the shield is gone, and that blows it wide open for the Deadeye to come through when it looked so dire for the defense. Just managed to turn it around. Claymores, gotta be happy that they managed to push it so far. The third point of Dorado in particular, it's very hard to try and push through, playing around some of those corners, and they got stuffed for a long time on second.
They really did.
Spartans kind of kicking themselves that they let that second hold go after so long, but now have the opportunity to redeem themselves. They don't need to quite finish the map, they only need to match, and they will tie up the series 1-1.
Yeah, I feel like once you get into that really long, extended kind of team fight, it can become a little bit hard to track who has what ultimates, just because it's been going on so long. Absolutely. And, everyone else is dying so often because you're on the defensive side, the attackers keep coming back at you, you do lose track, and that's when you open yourselves up to, powerful combos or just off angles that you weren't expecting because you didn't think they had the ultimate ready to go.
Absolutely. So Claymores setting up on this defense. It's very interesting what they're running. It's particularly that tank line. Rhine Diva, not a tank line we see very often. Doesn't have the greatest synergy in the world. You don't have the Winston to create space for your Diva to follow up. You don't have the Zarya to bubble your Reinhardt and allow them to push forward. A little bit disjointed, so maybe there's an opportunity for Spartans to punish there. And Spartans taking up this Sombra Goats composition.
Yeah, that's going to be really, really hard for Claymores to defend against with this setup.
Yeah, the key to beating the Sombra Goats, or at least the best way to beat it, is to play really aggressively. Don't give them any chance to set up. But again, lacking that Zarya, that's going to be much harder for Claymores to do than the like.
Yeah, I suspect we may see a swap over from Claymores very quickly. QGE going cloaked, looking to get around the back and see if they can, firstly, pass back a little bit of info to the rest of the team. Secondly, see if they can get a key hack and enable. Well, they don't actually have anything that can come in and dive that high ground position. Really, all you can do with the Sombra here is cause trouble. QGE throws the translocator, and we're going to go on board with Attitude, and this is already pushing very, very quickly up into this much more open square area at the top, and Claymore's having to give up a lot of ground as Spartans just push in with all of the area of effect healing that they've got, and that's a nice opening kill. Some Sombra on Sombra violence, QGE falling in that exchange, and that's going to be great if you're on the defensive side here, because that means you're in a 5v6 situation, 6v5 situation, so you know you can afford to maybe take a little bit more aggression. Attitude taking a bit of damage there. Flame already generating that Dragon Strike. Not able to find anything, but does crucially buy an awful lot of space for the team. Are they going to be able to get the follow-up and take Onimusha out of the fight? Yes, with a lunge forward, with the Sonic Arrow, just to really add insult to injury. Not quite able to get Alpha Rats at the end there.
And the Spartans lacking the Diva here, opting for the Sombra instead, means they don't have the defense matrix to mitigate some of that damage coming up from Flame, who not only built a really fast Dragon Strike, it's already 44% to his next one. QG setting up in the background, managed to dodge Sleep Dart, but he's getting charged down.
Yeah, and look at this, Skya currently winning the ultimate charge battle against QGE, means they will have an EMP in the next fight, and Spartans, of course, playing in this really sort of deathball-y style that they have to get in. That's a huge shatter though, and the Fire Strike to follow up finds two. Spartans looking very, very good here. Unfortunately, we did see the Nano Boost get invested into that fight in what I would have already called a lost fight there, so they're going to be heavily regretting that ultimate use.
Yeah, Claymores may be wanting to take that Nano Boost back, but that Earth Shatter coming through for Ventus. That's no Hellman stuff. That's a Grey Poupon Shatter coming through.
That is really the king of condiments of shatters. Completely agree with you. Both Sombra EMPs online now, and Claymores have quite the healthy little pot of ultimates there to play with. Spartans, no slouch, but maybe not in quite such a good
Ventus
position.
already over halfway to his Earth Shatter after utilising it right at the end of the fight. That's crucial for the Spartans, giving them a chance here. 70% with a crucial Fire Strike.
Yeah, that's another thing lacking the Diva. None of these Fire Strikes are getting anything, getting absorbed, but a nice big EMP coming out from Skya finds 4, and we're going to see the follow-up start to happen. Ventus and Ice Phoenix fall very early in the fight, so this is going to be Claymores again in a very good position, but they appear to be playing very, very defensively. They didn't want to push in and try and take out Onimusha at the end of that fight.
Spartans get a special off here. 3 ultimates for the price of 1, only needing the rest of Transcendence to take away the Shatter, the EMP, and the Dragon Strike. Flame again, building up this Dragon Strike incredibly quickly, already over halfway to his next one, but now the opportunity is there for QG. Invest the EMP of his own and let the Spartans rush.
Yeah, key to this though is you've got to watch out for Duck. Duck is key in keeping them alive through this, but we see an early 2 kills coming out there. Ice Phoenix, an equaliser though straight away. There was Skya and Mamma Mia taking 2 out, so this is going to see Spartans actually continuing to push right to this point. This has been nowhere near as good a hold for Claymores as they had on their turn on the defense.
Yeah, Spartans may be a little bit messy there, but it's crucial that they actually manage to hold on to the EMP. They have so many ultimates coming into effectively one fight territory, and Claymores will have an opportunity to rush through a second last minute contest, but this is looking really good for the Spartans now, after looking a little bit shaky towards the end of their defense, starting to turn this around.
But I kind of like it feels to me like a bit of a mind game between Duck and QGE at this point, where like QGE knows that Duck has the sound barrier, Duck knows that QGE has the EMP ready to go, and I feel like they're sort of just waiting for the other to make a move.
If it's a stalemate, then that's a win for the Claymores. I would rather have an EMP than have a sound barrier.
Yeah, there's the sound barrier though, and that's going to be absolutely key. EMP, stripping it right off. The patience finally pays off as Spartans come rolling in on the back of that. Onimusha with the high charge, gets the follow-up, sending Duck out of the fight, and that's going to be Spartans rolling this right the way up. 3 meters left to go. Nobody anywhere close to contesting there as we go 1-1 in the series. A great play from Spartans there.
The Spartans didn't give Duck a choice, though. There was a great hack coming through onto the opposing Reinhardt. The Earth Shatter and Sound Barrier come through for the Spartans. Duck has no choice. If he holds onto the Sound Barrier, they lose the fight. He invests the Sound Barrier, they get impeded and lose the fight. Great setup from Spartans, and speaking of great setups, that Shatter.
Yeah, that's one of my favourite shatters of this entire series. So clean. Yeah.
Spartans leveling up the series 1-1.
Yeah.
Looking a lot better than it is on
Yeah, so I said this could go to 5 games. It still definitely could at this point. So that's our escort map out of the way. Next we'll be going to everybody's favourite, 2CP, where we'll be choosing between Volskaya and Anubis. What are you hoping for?
I kind of like both. Anubis is another aesthetically pleasing map,
Yeah.
I feel. A little bit sandy, but reminds me of a nice day over at
Yeah,
the
I don't like sand. It's coarse, it gets everywhere. Yeah.
It's your problem.
That is my problem.
Well, it's very interesting to me, though, looking at these selections for assault maps. Both of them quite favour the Sombra, which, of course, we've just seen on that round of Dorado. QG and... the name escapes me.
Likewise, sorry. Skya, there we go.
I'm sorry, Skya, please forgive us. Yeah, that Sombra matchup definitely intrigues me. Looking at Volskaya, where you can feasibly run the Sombra on both points. On Anubis, where we don't see it so much first, but second, especially playing around the Mega Health Pack just underneath the point. That Sombra matchup is going to be exciting to watch if Skya, the one and only, and QG stick to the Sombras this time round.
Yeah, it's I don't know, when you're running these heavy triple tank, or granted it's not triple tank in the Sombra version because you're swapping the Diva out for the Sombra, but it can just be a case of who generates the Sombra ult quickly, or the quickly who generates the Sombra ult first, because that cracks the point wide open, and if your team is ready to capitalise on it, that's an instant win.
It's also a matter of playing very aggressively, going up against the Sombra. You don't give them time to set up, you don't let the Sombra get in your back line, set up a translocator, get those hacks off, you play aggressively, you take the 6v5, and then that negates a lot of value from the Sombra. It can be very dicey trying to set up somebody's Sombra composition sometimes.
So, what do you think, though? If you were expecting the enemy team to come out on a Sombra, do you run your own Sombra, or do you stick with the Diva and just put the Diva on Sombra checking duty to make it that much harder for Sombra to be effective?
It depends how I'm feeling in the mirror matchup.
Okay.
If I don't think I can take the Goats matchup, you opt for the Sombra. If you feel like the superior Goats team, you take the Goats matchup.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like maybe the safest bet overall, if you feel confident in your own Goats, is to just take that free and just rush in. You don't give the Sombra any time to set up. Playing it on offense against a defensive Sombra, obviously a lot harder because she has those extra 45 seconds at the start to set up. That's not true of an offensive Sombra composition, so maybe it's a little bit harder to attack with it than defend with it. But again, be interesting. This is all assuming that teams pull out a Sombra. We know both teams have Sombra within the kit. QG actually someone I want to highlight for playing 3 roles at this point. We've seen him take up the Reinhardt initially on Lijiang. He was playing the Zaya for one half of the Dorado, and then opting for the Sombra, so a lot of flexibility leaves the options wide open for the Spartans.
Yeah, a true flex player. But we've seen a variety of looks for the two teams. So, we've seen DPS looks, we've seen the triple tank, triple support look. The one thing we've not seen yet, and I know you're on the same page with me as this as a Chengdu Hunter fan, is this just ridiculous mobile DPS comps. It's a look that I would love to see from these two teams. We have seen them come out on the Wrecking Ball, but largely as a stall tactic. If they have a good Wrecking Ball player, I think particularly on Volskaya, that Wrecking Ball, Sombra, Pharah approach can be a really effective tool.
Volskaya was opting for the Wrecking Ball on their offense on Dorado, so maybe that can be something to look for here. Again, you say on Volskaya first point, you opt for that multiple DPS setup with the Wrecking Ball as well. Definitely something to watch out for.
Yeah. Well, let's see if either of our teams can surprise us. We are still, of course, waiting for the decision as to where we're going to be heading. I think we may, given the pause between rounds, we may also be seeing a couple of substitutions. It's one of these things that I'd love to know what the reasoning behind the substitutions are. No, we have just been told it is Volskaya, so we'll be very shortly going over to Volskaya, but I do love to know the reason behind substitutions. Is it that a certain player was not performing in the role? Is it that they are used to practicing it in that setup on a specific map?
Sometimes a large part of it can be hero pools. Like if you have an off tank who can only really play Diva, Obviously, it's a different story nowadays where you run these Goats competitions, but back in the day, you wouldn't run your Diva-only player on King's Row, for example. You'd bring in a second off tank who maybe is a weaker Diva, but has that Zarya in the kit as well. A hero pool can play into it a lot of these times. Again, sometimes it can just be you want to have very specific strats for each match, and you split between players so they can focus on just those strats rather than having to spread themselves across all the maps.
Yeah, there's a lot of thought that goes into the back end of this. It's a lot more complex than just who are our highest ranked players, and let's just play those guys.
Definitely. So no substitutions coming through, and it looks like we're still waiting on DS1 Mushu's pick, opting for the McCree on the defense. That's a very interesting pick. Running what is known in vernacular as the Cree comp, for obvious reasons. Here on this defense, that tells me that they may be expecting not a full DPS comp, because the 3-4 DPS comps Cree can be a little bit weaker too, but if they're expecting like a dive composition with a Farah or a Hanzo coming through, having not only the hit scan from the McCree, but the double stun capabilities of both the flashbang and the shield bash from Yita could be great at shutting down those dives.
Ah yes, the old flash and bash, of course. Claymores coming out with this triple tank, triple support lineup. It does mean that there are going to be very few targets that Onimusha can actually get at with the McCree.
Onimusha has to play this very carefully, avoid getting rushed down, try and poke down from afar.
Yeah, I like this aggression from Ventus, getting in on top of the rest of the team, but they do have the Discord orb, but there we go, nice couple of early kills coming in. Ventus getting back up to full health and just going ham with the hammer. Does get a little damage coming in from the opposing Zarya, but that's going to be a really nice, clean team fight. You've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, that was great from Ventus, not only playing aggressively, but kind of, like we referred to earlier, getting a feel, going with the rhythm of the Claymore's offense, and by kiting alongside with him and taking all their attention, it actually allowed Onimusha to get that off angle, which allowed him to get it.
Yeah,
nice
and it managed for Ventus to come out of that with 80% of their ultimate. They're going to have this inside the next few seconds. Attitude only at 20%, so this is a really, really good position. Claymore's here going for the same rotation they went for last time, and there is Ventus waiting again as the Shatter does get stunned. Shatter comes out, Attitude falls, Mamma Mia and Flame get put on the ground. There's the D-Mech, Flame falling very low, and it is just Mamma Mia with the Discord orb finally falling on the back there. Leaky opts in for a dive at the end there rather than give away any ult charge. This is looking really, really good for Spartans.
And we are already seeing adaptations for the Spartans here. Onimusha playing much further back defensively than he was on the first go round, trying to stay out of range of that Ghost composition, get the poke down from afar, obviously pushing forward to get a little bit of early poke as Claymore's going from tradition, and then backing up, only rushing into the team fight when you know it's safe, when you know we can go for that cleanup.
Yeah, but we are starting to see ults come online. In fact, there's the first one. Rally coming out from both teams. Here's a High Noon in the back as well, and we've also got two Transcendences used. Onimusha manages to finally get Sky through all that healing and shielding with the Deadeye. Of course, has been buffed, doing a little bit more damage on the Deadeye. Nice Graviton Surge gets everybody in it, and there is just the full throttle damage onto Claymores. Claymores have hardly stepped foot on the point at all this map.
But now the opportunity is there for the Claymores. They have the large ultimate advantage coming into this. We're looking at Attitude with that Earth Shadow in particular. Needs to try and get an early one in before Ventus can start building up that last 30% to his own.
Yeah, the key in this fight, got to watch out for when Conroya isn't here, because they need to stay alive in this fight to survive through the Graviton Surge. Getting caught in the Shatter whilst that's happening could be absolutely devastating. It could be what breaks this point wide open. Of course, Attitude not really in a position to get out of line of sight of Alpha Rats, so going to stick with that Discord orb. Finally cleans it there with a bit of help from the Zarya. Nice rotation coming in onto the high ground.
Yeah, I like this rotation, trying to take away silence from Onimusha, make sure the McCree isn't comfortable, and now they're going to drop straight down with the gun.
Yeah, Graviton Surge, Sound Barrier comes in, self-destruct, nothing coming out of that either, and a Shatter coming in again. Ventus does fall in that exchange. This is going to be really, really tight here. QGE takes Duck out of the fight, but we also lose Onimusha, which means there's very little damage online for Spartans to do this, but it's not going to matter because Ice Phoenix finds Mamma Mia, went out of the mech, and there's the Sound Blaster kill, taking Flame out of the fight, and despite having lost Ventus in that fight, Spartans still completely holding.
Yeah, you don't need a McCree for damage when you have 100 charges. QG building up to another Graviton here, and now, looking at last fight territory for the Claymores, they only really have Attitude's Earth Shadow to work with. Duck gonna have to Transcendence to counteract QG's Graviton, but it's do or die time. You need to make a play.
Yeah, and honestly, with the amount of time left in the time bank, getting stuck off the point in the Graviton Surge just like that is gonna be hugely problematic. There we go. Has managed to get out of that and get a bit of point presence. Leaky gets in, gets the first kill, taking Conroya out of the fight. Shatter comes out, not finding anything there from Ventus really, but it doesn't matter because the kills, nice counter charge there just on the side. QGE again with the high charge, with a bit of help from that Discord Orbis providing so much pressure, completely deletes that Reinhardt shield. Yes, they lose on Amusha in that exchange, but really it's not going to matter too much because it is just blue in the kill feed on the left hand side there. Finally, Flame goes down. Skyer, poor Skyer on the Lucia, is going to be the last one standing, and that is going to be a full hold on point A for Skyer.
And this is the kind of Spartans performance we were expecting. A dominant full hold, even running maybe a less optimal composition. Onimusha able to just stay out of harm's way on the McCree, keep pumping in that damage, and now Claymores, they can't win this map. They have the opportunity to draw here on Volskaya, but they can't win. And even drawing, you need to match what just happened. You need to go for that full 4-minute no-tick full hold.
Yeah, and it is a big ask. Even if you sit back and go, okay, well, you know, we're the same sort of level as these guys. They just managed to full hold us. Of course, we can full hold them. Yeah. It honestly is such a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, and as a wise man once said, Phil, SR doesn't matter.
No, very true.
Even if maybe Claymores have a slight average SR advantage, Spartans are comprehensively looking like a better team right now. Yeah. They have the synergy there. Claymores, I feel like Spartans kind of got a good feel for Claymores. They know Attitude likes to play that aggressive Reinhardt, opting for the Mercy now, obviously. They know the way Claymores play. They've made the adaptations. We need to see Claymores stepping up, making those adaptations themselves, and hey, when you're stuck in a situation like this where you need something huge here on the defense, why not mix it up? And that's what we're going to see here, a triple DPS setup.
Yeah, we were talking about this just before the map started. It's not a look we've yet seen from either of our teams, but here we go. Claymores happy to provide.
So the key here is going to be keeping Duck and Skyer alive. Obviously you have a lot of damage, but keeping Duck alive with that little bit of with the Harmony Orb just does a little bit of minor healing to a secondary target. The Discord Orb as well to help you focus down on a target. They're going to be huge. Skyer, obviously, if the Wrecking Ball falls, you no longer have that point presence. You no longer have a way to demand the attention of the Spartans. And it's going to be crucial for QG, looking for those cheeky hacks. Actually, does teleport back, might be sticking on the Sombra pick though, trying to put pressure onto Duck and Skyer, players I just highlighted.
Yeah, some early spam damage there from Flame forced them out of the invisibility mode there. Nice little group of angles, and Mamma Mia getting a nice pick there, moving over from the Diva onto the Hanzo, clearly paying off for them already. So this is actually looking very good for Claymore so far. They've not lost anybody in that exchange, and here we are just in clear-up phase.
Good start at least for the Claymores. The Spartans are a little bit sure how to approach this point. They do actually get a nice hack onto Skyer, but unfortunately no one of the Spartans was in a position to follow up. They started falling, and now we're going to see a couple of changes. Opting for a dive setup here, it would appear. Trying to put a lot of pressure onto Duck in the background, maybe Leaky and Mamma Mia as well. Try and take down these more stationary targets and snowball the fight off the back of that.
Yeah, I did think it was weird. Ice Phoenix looked like they were for a second. They're sticking over on the Brigitte. Moving over onto the Ashe, Spartans have still a bit of time to play with here. They can maybe afford a few switches coming up. But here's the Dragon Strike coming out from Mia. Is it going to find everybody? Doesn't look like it. Has bought a little bit of space as we see the D-Mate coming in. Duck getting that kill onto Ventus. Flame forced on Amusha in that exchange, but there's nobody really there to stop Attitude coming in with a res. And interesting to me, Attitude playing Reinhardt in the previous round, now moving over onto the Mercy. This quad DPS lineup is starting to look like it's going to work out pretty well for Claymores.
Yeah, great work from Onimusha, get a nice push for a couple picks. It looks like Claymores are starting to turn it around, but a Transcendence comes through from Alphrat, gives the Spartans a chance to come back into this, and a crucial pick onto Mamma Mia.
Yeah, there we go. This is the opening that was required. Discord Orb sticking. Oh, but there's a bomb in the backyard. It's going to make it a little bit harder to get anything done. But again, that Discord Orb staying on the Mercy is going to let Ice Phoenix do the work with that Viper on Amusha, pressuring Duck in the back. Duck incredibly low, finally falling, and that is going to be Spartans with a nice change there. Flame, do you know what, Flame? It was a good effort, but between the defense matrix and the dash coming out from the Genji, that was not a good time for you. Sorry about that, buddy.
Yep, and Spartans now taking the lead in the series. starting to run away with it a little bit, putting themselves up 2-1. This is going to be match point, and Onimusha on this Genji looking beautiful.
Yeah, here we go. We've seen just pressuring Duck, falling down to 1 health, and I think just at the end of this, we're going to get this final dive onto the ulting Pharah. Yeah, there we go, taken out at the end there. Yeah, it's proving to be a really, really flexible DPS player.
Absolutely. I'd like to highlight Ice Phoenix as well. Someone who we typically expect just playing the Mercy, and is a great Mercy at that.
A Mercy carry, yeah.
Mercy carry, crucial for the Spartans on the championship team. But now, here, pulling out the off-tank, pulling out the DPS, and still playing all these to a great level as well. Had some great moments on Ashe there, taking out the Valkyrie Mercy. Looking really good for the Spartans.
Yeah, I think it's a thing that I like in particular about the Arena Clash setup is that when you look at things like Open Division and the more official sort of Blizzard-sponsored tournaments, you get players that play, I am an off-tank, I will play the off-tank for every map. Down at this level, people just play whatever they think they can make work, and I think it's honestly quite an interesting, quite a fun way to watch Overwatch.
I don't think it's so much down at this level. It's just the nature of Arena Clash allows for these kind of flexibility, and it does make for great viewing. I do enjoy seeing QG, another person to highlight, playing so many different roles, opening up so many options for the Spartans. It's a joy to see.
I just want to see, having seen Attitude play Mercy and Reinhardt, I just want to see them play Widowmaker now. Let's get that trifecta of the 3 different skill sets.
Yes, the holy trinity: Reinhardt, Mercy, and Widowmaker.
Yeah. Jeff be praised. Yeah. So we are, of course, going to be moving over onto our hybrid map now. The choice is going to be between King's Row and Blizzard World. And it is in fact going to be King's Row. The voice in my ear tells me. I don't think any of us are surprised by seeing King's Row.
You get a voice in your ear too? I thought that was just me.
No.
Well, King's Row is going to be
Scrim's Row.
Yeah,
everybody picks this map.
It's one of the most iconic maps in Overwatch history. One of the most well-loved maps. Definitely very fun to play. Even at the peak of dive meta, it was kind of stood out on its own because we saw a lot of the Reinhardt Zarya compositions here. Not to say you couldn't run dive. Teams still ran dive to great effect. But here, in the peak of when we're seeing kind of coming down from Goat's meta, where teams are starting to mix it up a bit, I do think we are going to be sticking at the very least with a lot of Reinhardt Zarya compositions. Maybe on the first point, particularly on offense, we like to see teams going for these DPS setups that we just saw the Claymores running, and there are occasionally bunkers on defense, but especially through the second and third phase, it's kind of just Goat City.
Yeah, it is, and I remember playing on this map before Goats was ever a thing, and it kind of, in retrospect, feels like proto-Goats because of how prevalent the Rein-Zarya combo was, and I think that's where people started to realise just how strong that synergy was.
I mean, that's it. Before Dive Meta came a thing, before we had those changes to Winston and Diva that made them so viable, it was just Rein-Zarya everywhere, but we've known that synergy since the dawn of time, and with the introduction with Brigitte into the game, it was only kind of natural that people would start figuring out. It was also came in with Quad Tank that we used to see a lot of.
The Slambulance.
Yeah, the Slambulance, the one and only. So it's very interesting to see how those metas have evolved over time, but that's not what we're seeing here. We're going to see Leaky, formerly on the support role, taking up that Widowmaker.
Yeah, I suspect we're going to see an opening shot from Leaky and then swapping back over onto the Brigitte. We've seen this strategy before, but Spartans looking like they're playing
You'd
too
say
far
that,
back.
but then you would expect Mamma Mia to still be on the Brigitte, but no, Mamma Mia is taking up the Lucio.
Called it. Leaky on the Brigitte.
I like to believe.
Never doubt me again.
Spartans though, thinking if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Opting for the same defense here that we saw on Volskaya. Onimusha taking up that McGuinn.
Yeah, Sky getting the back, finds the hack there coming out. Actually, no, hack failed to connect in that fight. Onimusha playing nice and defensively in the back, and a nice move there. Sends Attitude up into the air, allowing Onimusha to fan that hammer, and it is just roll right click for Onimusha, and it's paying dividends because they're already halfway to the ultimate, and I like the QGE at 100 charge already as Claymores go back and have a rethink about how they're doing this.
Yeah, Spartans having to back off a little bit now, let Ventus return to the fight before they can re-engage. And a nice hack onto QG means Spartans have to wait a little bit longer. Actually going to give a tick over to the Claymores, and Ventus falls again.
Yeah, Ventus dying first twice in the last 2 fights is not a particularly good position to be in for Spartans. Even if they are coming ahead in terms of ult charge, they are just giving away this point.
Yeah, Flame on this Zarya does get flash, needs to stay alive, but it looks like the Claymores are going to be starting to roll through this, able to pressure down Ventus, not giving the Spartans the space they want, take a nice early point cap, and now Spartans going to have to regroup and rethink.
Yeah, but we do come out of this for Spartans with a couple of key ultimates. Whether or not we can actually get anything out of this high noon, I thought we were going to see just a straight dive down into the midst of them there from Onimusha. A little bit cleverer than that.
I think he was opting for a high noon for the high ground, but saw Attitude backing up, saw the Reinhardt shield in his way, knew nothing was going to come of it.
Yeah, Onimusha showing that pipe who's boss. You've got to keep these pipes in line. Oh, nice presence of mind. They're managing to frighten Skyer out of the line of sight. Ventus has the Earth Shadow ready to go, but permanently at about half health, playing very, very aggressively. There's the high noon coming in. Anything coming out of it? It's a long old wait. No, nothing. Did buy a bit of space to allow people to get in and do a bit of lifting on the back of that, but nothing coming out of it. Attitude takes Conrad in that fight. Earth Shatter coming out again. Puts Mamma Mia, Skyer and Flame on the back foot, and that is going to be potentially what we needed for Spartans to get in. But no, an even bigger hacker comes and gets almost all of Spartans, and Claymores are going to just bounce right back into this.
And that was super smart from Claymores, almost kind of baiting the aggression to the Spartans, allowed them all to rush in, and it's the perfect setup for Skyer. Throw out the EMP, turn the fight around, and Claymores just continuing to roll forward here. QG does have the defensive Graviton setup, maybe opting for it, just going to get a little bit more energy before he's ready.
Yeah, and crucially, there's no D.Va on side to eat that up, so you can just throw that in pretty much whenever you feel like it. It's only going to be a couple of seconds. There we go, and we've got Ventus in place, ready to swing away with the hammer and start building up that Earth Shatter, and there we go, it comes online. QGE opting to try and take Skyer out of the fight, sending them right into the path of Onimusha. So Spartans in a very good position here. Unfortunately, that Earth Shatter just goes into the waiting shield of Attitude, but they do get Flame in that exchange. Sound Barrier comes out at the end of the fight, is going to let them push forward with a bit more aggression and clean up some of those kills. So Spartans finally getting a bit of a solid hold.
Yeah, Conroe maybe wants to take that EMP back, means there's no defensive ultimates online for the Spartans now, but it is looking good for the Spartans here on this defense. Claymores, after some initial momentum, getting stuffed just a little bit.
Yeah, but Claymore's coming up on a lot of key ultimates in this fight, so I think we may see maybe one more dry push from them with nothing thrown in before we just come in with all 6 ultimates, because they've really only got to deal with Onimushas at this point, so maybe they don't even the dry push, they can just throw in what they think is necessary.
Attitude's angling up the Earth Shadow, but he's got a Zaya in his back, gets forced down, forced away, and a crucial anti-nade comes through.
Yeah, really, really nice positioning from QG. Alpha Rat with the nano boost. Onimusha right in the back finally finds Flame. Duck gets Ice Phoenix in that exchange. Attitude still holding on to this Earth Shatter. We've still got lots to play with. We only really lost the Graviton Surge in that fight. Attitude just taking a big old charge out the way there. Not able to escape. Onimusha follows them. Such low health, able to just follow up with one shot from the Peacekeeper.
Yeah, great work from QG on that Zaya, taking the off angle, pressuring out Attitude, who was looking for the Earth Shatter, and now allows Spartans to set up another crucial defense. 5 ultimates online for the Claymores, lacking everything. They've got everything except that Graviton. Skyer needs to come up huge with the CMP.
Yeah, but they've got 2 minutes left to play with. You know, it's not the end of the world if they take this a little bit slowly. We've seen teams in this matchup so far tonight go all the way into overtime and still push it right the way there, but Onimusha and Ventus coming on the back of that huge Graviton Surge from QGE are going to knock another few seconds off of that time bank.
Yeah, and only needing to invest a single ultimate, the Graviton Surge, and now Spartans, minute and a half time bank, still only needing to use 1-2 ultimates, cycling through. Conrad Jr. has another sound barrier here.
Wow, yeah, this is really impressive. But Spartans kind of have to play in this grouped up fashion. Well, you would look at it and say you've got to play in this grouped up fashion, but they're actually playing in sort of a very, very loose formation, so this EMP is probably only going to get a couple of people in it, unless, of course, Claymores can do some more work just to group everybody up. Here we go, Skyer up on the high ground, looking for a target. They've got their EMP ready to go. Spartans playing too far apart, really, to get everybody they would like to in the EMP. Here it comes. Crucially, they managed to get everybody in that except Conroe. Conroe coming in with a sound barrier, absolutely huge, keeps everybody alive. Duck has to throw the Transcendence in there to keep them alive, and now we've got Mamma Mia coming in with the sound barrier. Crucially, Claymores get the kill there. Conroe Jr. finally falling in that fight. Graviton Surge coming in big for Flame. There's the damage we needed, but the Nano Boost coming in onto Ventus. It's not going to be enough as Ventus falls in the fight. It is just QGE looking to burn as much time as they can, but there are too many bodies, and we're going to see Claymores finally push this through to cap point B.
It looked like Conroe might have saved the fight, late, dancing away, manages to just stay out of the EMP and invest a sound barrier, but it's too little, too late. The follow-through comes from the Claymores. Flame has a huge graviton surge, and now Claymores, after being stuffed for a long time on second, starting to roll into the third point of King's Row.
But this is what we saw happen to them on Dorado as well.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's just about patience. You know, if you're patient and you get the ultimates in the right place, you absolutely can break holes like this. Flame taking an off angle, see if they can get a bit of damage in over the top. And we've got a Reinhardt Shield versus Reinhardt Shield here, setting up that tennis court. Claymore's taking a bit of a back off. Oh, crucially bashed Ventus out of that sound barrier, out of that Earth Shatter even, but it doesn't really matter because Ventus and QGE coming big on the back of a Graviton Surge, and that is going to be Spartans coming right back in again, just as we thought Claymores had the momentum they needed to push in.
Yep, great work from the Spartans, consolidating on that defense, only needing to invest a Graviton Surge, starting to build up to a couple more of these ultimates. Ventus, maybe a little bit disappointed that he had his Earth Shatter cancelled, but 50%, he's going to have one coming into the latter phases of the next fight. It looks like it might be one-fight territory here.
Yeah, here we go. Flame coming in with another Graviton Surge, and we saw that last one be so impactful. There it is, it stuffed everybody up. Got to get Attitude in and swinging away onto that fight. They actually did manage to do too much damage on the back of that, and it has caused Duck to throw in the Transcendence just to buy a little bit of space.
6-man!
Nice big hack. Talk about hacks seen from space. And here we go. This is the chance they needed to clean up. But so far, only one kill coming in on the back of that. QGE dancing around the payload. Does finally get knocked down, taking the Discord orb from Duck. And, oof, that was... I don't know, it was a big EMP, but it didn't really do an awful lot. Spartans can get in here and recontest. You can just see them waiting to come back in all together. Claymores only have the sound barrier ready to go. Onimusha in the back, not able to find anything with the Deadeye. Sound barrier coming out, going to keep everybody alive through that. But the counter sound barrier from Mamma Mia 2 in there. Huge pin coming up, not managing to get the kill. And that is the first kill of this team fight. QGE going down in the fight. Onimusha soon to follow. Are we going to see Claymores finally push this all the way into overtime? Yes, I think we are. Good job, guys. Claymores managed to push it all the way.
Looked a little bit dicey from out there. Skyer had the huge EMP. Was a little bit around the corner. They're only able to follow up onto 2 targets, but that's all they needed. Let them set up for that final fight with the Spartans rushing out of spawn to try and contest. Couldn't quite make it, and the Claymores do finally get that full completion.
Yeah, so Spartans are going to have to take this all the way, so unless Claymores can hold them, we will be seeing another round on King's Row. Given what we've seen of Spartans on their attacking phases so far, it would not surprise me to see them take this in a quicker time than we saw Claymores take it.
Absolutely. Claymore's probably going to opt for that Somber Goats composition again. On the defense, it's a little bit stronger because you have the opportunity to set up initially. You don't have to set up kind of on the fly as the rest of your team aggresses. So Sky is going to be crucial to watch him here if he does opt for that Somber pick. Spartans, it'll be interesting to see what they go with. We've seen they're pretty strong on the Goats matchup. They do like to put Onimusha onto these DPS heroes such as McCree. It looks like it might be a double sniper setup, but the fact that they have their main support, Convo Jr., I'm not falling for this again.
No, you've learnt your lesson from last time, but no surprises coming in from Claymores. It's pretty much exactly what we expected. Skyer moving over onto the Sombra once again. So the thing to watch out here, particularly during these first couple of pushes, is where Skyer sets up and who they're looking to hack on the way in.
Yeah, Spartan was still a little bit indecisive on what their final composition will be. I don't think, even if Convo Jr. doesn't move over to Lucio, opting for a triple support solo tank dive, I don't think that's the play here. We'll probably see one of QG or Ice Phoenix moving back over to that D.Va and going for this dive composition.
Yeah, I mean, Winston has received a little bit of a buff against Reinhardt, but it's still not a matchup you really want to take if you can help it. There we go, Ventus moving over onto the Reinhardt. Onimusha looking for that early pick, swapping right back over onto the Zarya. Yeah, this is what we expected. We've actually got the mirror.
And it's the mirror matchup. This does give the advantage over to Claymores because Skyer does have a little bit more time to set up. Gets a nice pick onto that's the one, onto Ventus to buy time. But now QG, running out of spawn or something, can have the opportunity to set up for himself.
Yeah, here we go. Sky coming in for round 2 on the Hack Fiesta. Not actually able to find anything before getting unstealth. A little bit of a cheeky spray there just to celebrate. Hack in the back line comes in onto Flame with no bubbles there to protect the team. Nothing doing there because there was not enough focus coming in on the Hack target, so they stay alive through that. has 80% of their potential damage coming out, and there we go. Opening kill sees Leaky taken out of the fight, and the Onimusha coming in, taking out the opposite number. This is going to be just clean up once again as Spartans come roaring onto the point.
And that's a beautiful chain of events from the Spartans. QG's hack onto Flame forces the Claymores to retreat. They don't have the bubbles to protect themselves, as you alluded to. They start kiting back towards the archway, but Leaky caught off guard.
This is really cool. This is catching them during the unfortunate split spawn, just coming in full aggro, looking to get an early pick. And I do believe Ventus went for the charge, but they got hacked out of it, which allowed Duck to come in with a bit of help from everybody else to follow them up. But it doesn't really matter for Spartans at this point, because they've capped the point. This is just trying to buy as much space as they can.
It's also building up ult charge. Onimusha getting 90% of the way to that Graviton here. They do have to wait for Ventus and QG to return from spawn, and it's going to allow Claymores to start setting up. But Skya has to come all the way from the other spawn as well. Neither Sombra is going to be on the field for a little moment.
Yeah, worth noting, QGE much closer to that hack that EMP and Skya is, and we've seen just how big that can be. Nice big Earth Shatter, and the Graviton Surge coming in over the top. Might be a little bit too big of an investment of ultimates. Let's see what happens when all the particle effects have unloaded. Nice tracking there from Onimusha. Takes Mamma Mia out of the fight, and it is go time, guys. Let's go find those last few stragglers, wipe up this team fight, and push as far as we can. We're going to see them push right the way up and just leave maybe one or two to ride that cart. We Skya coming in just for a cheeky hack at the end. I didn't really get anything.
You're definitely right. Maybe a little bit of an over-investment there, investing both the Graviton and the Earth Shadow, particularly basically at the same time, but that's crucial. They managed to get a nice pick onto Skya, and that means Claymores, they're not going to be able to set up properly for what might be the final defense here. They're going to have to wait a little bit longer for Skya to return with the EMP. So QG, Skya, both with the EMP on the line. Going to be interesting to see who gets the first one, who gets the bigger EMP here.
Yeah, but of course, look at how slowly the payload is moving. So all of this is happening whilst the payload is still coming in. It's allowed Skya to get in and pop that big old EMP. Gets 3, crucially, does not get either of the supports. So Alpha Rat is able to pop that Transcendence, keep the team alive. They do lose Ventus in that exchange, and that might just be enough for them to want to back out and retry this.
Yeah, Alpha Rat was able to pop the Transcendence because he wasn't on the EMP, but he was the wrong side of the payload to save Ventus, unfortunately, and that means the Claymores starting to consolidate on defense. Going to play a little bit aggressive here, tit for tat, same as what the Spartans did to them. Build up a little bit more point charge, but now QG in position with the EMP. He's waiting and ready.
Yeah, it's the battle of the EMPs. It's who can get the bigger EMP, and crucially who can get the bigger follow-up. There's the EMP, gets 4, but again, crucially, misses out one of the supports, and Duck is able to just reposition and keep their run alive through that fight. Ventus takes just all the damage in the world. QGE managing to get a pick onto Leaky there. Is that going to be enough? I suspect maybe just, because the kills are starting to come in for Spartans. There are very few members of Claymores left alive, and there we go. That is the point kept. I like the fact that Conrad Jr. on a 10-player kill streak has not died in quite a while.
Yeah, and again, it's the double investment of the tank ultimates here, but this time it's necessary. Just the Earth Shadow or just the Graviton isn't going to be enough to cut through that Transcendence, but investing both allows you to last longer than Transcendence. You have the opportunity, and now 4 minutes coming into the third phase of King's Row. This is looking great for the Spartans.
Yeah, it is. This is such a strong position. We've got Leaky moving over onto the McCree also. I do wonder if that is specifically to try and counter QGE, looking to get that cheeky flashbang in on the back of the Sombra and delete them before it can do some damage. But that's a nice big hack, comes in, finds 3. Ventus falls in that exchange. It's probably not going to matter too much because, again, they've got 3.5 minutes on the point on the clock. They can afford to take their time, build up ults, and do this properly.
Yeah, it does allow Leaky to build 50% of the way to that Deadeye, Attitude and Flame, build up the Earth Shatter and Graviton too, so Claymores still have a couple tools to work with. QG actually moving off the Sombra onto the Diva now. They're not liking the look of the Sombra against the Anna, McCree, and Sombra coming out. Claymores wanting the more traditional goats with the defense matrix to shut down some of these targets.
Yeah, and to be honest, you know, if Claymores can keep this up, then this may see it at least go to overtime, if not all the way to a hold. But they are on the back foot now. Killbear coming out onto Attitude is big. It means the Spartans can afford to get in. They've got the HP pool advantage coming into this fight. Transcendence coming out. Leaky gets shattered and then whacked into non-existence by the big German man with the hammer. But Flame and Skya managed to get a couple of equalizers, but we are 2 meters away from the point. Beautiful charge from Ventus. Stops Attitude getting anywhere near the point, and that is going to be Spartans capping point number 3 with a sizable time bank.
Spartans channeling their inner 6-year-old, anything you can do, I can do better. You finish King's Row, I'll do it with over 2 minutes left on the board. And that was a crucial pick from QG over to the D.Va, actually. Using that defense matrix to not only eat up obviously the bullets coming through from Skya and Leaky, able to spy check a little bit as well, but eating a lot of the healing coming through from Duck as well. Put Claymores on the back foot, weren't able to make those swaps on time because they'd already committed to running that setup. And it was a beautiful read from the Spartans. Nice swap, and now 2 minutes 34 on the time bank, just to take a single tick on the first point of King's Row to win the Challengers Finals.
Yeah, this is really, really desperation stages for Claymores. Are we going to see the familiar look that we've seen from them so far this evening moving over onto the somber version of Goats? Or are we going to see something a little spicier? No, it does look like we are just getting ready to go out for this traditional 3 people waiting for... Junkrat Goat, is that a thing?
Well, whatever packet of secret spicy hot sauce you have hidden away in the back of the pantry, this is the time to pull it out, Claymores. Skya, maybe looking at a Torbjorn pick. You need something big. You need...
It's quite short, though.
Yeah, you need to hold... you need to hold for 2.5 minutes here. It's interesting for me that they're opting for the same tank line that's failed them before, the Rhine D.Va. I don't like this look. Spartans going for what they know. Conroy's going to go for a nice initial pick on the Widowmaker. Swap over to Lucio. QG sticking with that Sombra. It's a traditional Spartans look, but it's one that's worked.
Yeah, they've been pretty hard to contest all the way through this on this lineup. Yeah, we've got QGE coming in the back. Is just dodging that top. Not a key target really, but that's a nice opening pick. That puts you in 5v6.
Means he can't pop the overload to keep himself alive. Attitude comes in with the charge to take down Ventus, but falls himself.
Yeah, now there's no Reinhardts left on the field. Capture is starting to rack up the Spartans. Claymore's not in a great position. We're going to see Attitude move over onto the Wrecking Ball to try and get in a recontest, but it's just not going to be enough as you see Spartans take the series and the entire championship.
Well, it does feel maybe a little bit anticlimactic how easily they kind of rolled into that first point, but it's well deserved. Claymores put up a great fight, particularly towards the start of the series, but as we continued on, Spartans started building up momentum, started building up confidence, got the feel for their opponent, and had huge moments like this. Ventus coming in with a huge Earth Shatter.
Yeah, imagine shattering a McCree out of their ultimate. It's going to feel pretty bad if you're the McCree.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, you know, looking at the side of it, before the match we were talking about who we thought was maybe the team that were going to take this, and we did look at Spartans and go, it's probably going to be Spartans. And we got that initial victory coming out from Claymores.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, maybe this is something that's going to go the distance. And Claymores did put up a good fight right the way through this. Let's not count them out for a second in this. But yeah.
I mean, almost finishing Dorado, full capping King's Row, they aren't easy feats to accomplish, especially against a team like the Spartans who are very strong defensively. It was great work by the Claymores, and again, as you said, taking the 2-0 on Lijiang, they did have opportunities here. It's not like this was a storm in the case of the Spartans. Claymores did make it competitive.
Yeah.
They did look really good, but they weren't able to quite stand up to the somber Goats look we saw coming out towards the end from the Spartans, and that was a crucial factor here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's as you said, it can be a game of inches, and I think we are just seeing slightly more inches on board for Spartans than we were seeing for Claymore. But hopefully they're not going to be too disheartened by that loss. Hopefully we're going to see them back in the next season of Arena Clash, and even we might see some of them moving up over into the championship, because the champions level, because there was some really, really high level of just mechanical and game sense understanding. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them move up.
Absolutely. Duck was someone who kind of stood out to me on that flex support role, popping off a lot on Zenyatta, has some crucial transcendences, but unfortunately just couldn't quite come all together for the Claymores.
Yeah, so unfortunately that is going to be all that we have for this. Well, no, that's a lie. It's not quite all we've got. It's not quite all we've got for the season. It's all we've got coming at you from the Basingstoke Arena. However, we still have the Champions Final. That's going to be live at Insomnia 64 a week on Saturday, I believe.
After one.
So we're going to have a little bit of a reel to show you exactly what you can expect to see at Insomnia 64, because it's going to be one heck of a weekend. Lots of stuff to sink your teeth into. In the meantime, if you want to find out any more about Belong Arenas and Arena Clash in general, check us out at belong.gg on all of the... there we go. Thank you, Val, for pointing those out. All of the key social media platforms. But yeah, please enjoy this Insomnia 64 sizzle reel.